PlayStation just released their new State of Play today, and I'm technically on vacation. I'm actually in Japan right now, but I wanted to talk about everything we saw today. I even happened to I packed a PlayStation shirt, so that worked out really nicely. Overall, really good show. I think one of the things with PlayStation this year is that, we kind of went into the year not knowing a ton of what was all coming out this year. There's a couple games you know about, but not a lot. This gave us some updates on a few games, some exclusives, some multi-platform that we already knew about, as well as a few new announcements. I'm going to speed through some of these and then take a little more time on the ones that really stood out to me. This is also, by the way, only my third day on the trip, and I'm still just starting to get over, I think, the jet lag, so this is going to be a little bit all over the place and ranty. First off, a couple updates on some games we already know about. Dave the Diver is getting a PS5 port coming out in April and is getting new Godzilla content in May. I still have yet to check out Dave the Diver. I've heard very good things, so I do need to check that out. Foam Stars is coming to PlayStation Plus, so there's going to be an easier way of getting into that game and checking it out if you haven't tried it out already. And we also got some renewed looks at Dragon's Dogma 2 and Rise of the Ronin, both of which we already knew the release dates for, which are actually the same day on March 22nd. But we got to see a little more extensive gameplay of both of them. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like it might be teasing some kind of multi-class system because a lot of the combat showed the main character swapping between different looking styles, including things like being a wizard but then bringing out a claymore to do a jumping slash on someone. While Rise of the Ronin, I've been really curious to see more of that combat at length, which is what we exactly saw today. It looks like Team Ninja is trying to not do just a straight-up Soulsborne like they have done with some other past recent games. There's a little bit of that DNA in there, but it's faster, lots of traversal options which look really interesting, and a stance system that reminds me a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. I know that's like a very easy comparison because it's like, oh, these two games kind of, take place in historical Japan, but that's exactly what that stance system is. You have 4 different stances, each of which has their own advantages depending on the kinds of enemies and weapons you're going up against. They also revealed that you'll have a variety of weapons to work with, not only including things like swords and spears, but even guns, bayonets, and a straight-up flamethrower. The show also opened up with another look at Helldivers 2, which has a release date of February 28th. This is one of the many games that PlayStation is working on that's trying to add a little bit more of a live service multiplayer focus to some of their first-party titles, but it is one of the ones that I'm personally a bit more interested and excited about. We also got a quick look at Zenless Zone Zero. This is the next game coming from MiHoYo, most popularly known for making Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, which came out last year. We already knew this game was in development and coming out for mobile, but following in suit with the other games, it has now been announced as coming to PS5 as well. Now, if you're a VR fan, good news, there actually was some love for PSVR2 at this show today. In particular, we got to see 2 games, one of which is a Metro VR game, which I'm sure is going to be suitably terrifying, as well as a first-person view fantasy action RPG that actually gave me some vibes of an older Might and Magic game called Dark Messiah. I don't know if anyone else remembers playing that one, but I immediately was thinking about the game when we saw some of this gameplay, which makes me a little more curious. My PSVR2 has been kind of sitting for a little bit, so might be time to dust it off and check some of this stuff out. Now, some announcements I want to slow down and focus on a little bit more. We got a renewed look at Stellar Blade. This was a game that was revealed quite a while ago for PS5. We've just gotten the occasional update on it, and this was one of the largest, most in-depth trailers we've had for it. I wish there was a little bit more time dedicated to the combat specifically, but we got a lot of looks at some of the surrounding systems of the game, introducing some of these side characters, a little bit more plot bits. In general, it is a fantastic looking action game as far as just what the speed and energy behind it looks like. I'm just a little bit curious about how it actually handles gameplay-wise. And one other thing that really stood out to me as part of the trailer that they never actually said anything openly about is the customization of the main character. Constantly throughout the entire trailer, we were seeing different hairstyles, different outfits. It could be stuff that just happens as part of the story, but with how much variety there was, I get the feeling we're going to see some kind of, not necessarily a character creator, because the main character Eve is a set specific person, but it does look like something where we're going to have a lot of customization in terms of just outfits and style. One game that was a really big surprise to me is we got a reveal of a new Sonic game, specifically Sonic Shadow Generations. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be like the biggest Sonic fan out there. I have played my fair share of games and have enjoyed them. One of my favorite ones was the first Generations. I thought it was a really fun play on the idea of mixing the older and newer school gameplay. I thought the visual design of having, the old school Sonic in 3D was really cute looking. So having another game in that style that's also adding shadow games into the mix is really interesting to me. Then, Silent Hill, where we got not one, but two games that were being talked about, one of which we already know with Silent Hill 2 Remake. We got an extended look at that, which looks very much like it's getting the Resident Evil Remake style treatment, where it is an over-the-shoulder style camera with a bit more action focus. As a fan of the original version of the game, just seeing a lot of the monster designs updated in this perspective does look very good. There's a part of me that is still a little hesitant on how much a remake is going to actually fully capture the vibe, and I think what really makes some of the older Silent Hill games special. But what we saw today, I think, is a really good indication of progress. The other Silent Hill game they just announced, and in fact are releasing today, now, is Silent Hill: The Short Message, which very much looks like they're trying to recapture the PT vibes a little bit. First-person view, lots of doors opening, weird monster in the distance. There was even a bathroom that looked basically like the bathroom from PT. I don't know if this is meant to maybe hype up and build up towards some other release down the line, or maybe test the market for it again, because like PT, this is also a free-to-play game that I would love to dive into and do right away, but I'm in Japan and didn't bring a PS5 with me, so I'm gonna need to wait on that. Another game that we've learned about in the past but haven't heard from in a very long time is Judis. This is a new game coming from a new studio made up of a lot of the veterans that made the BioShock games, and that's exactly what this looks like. I mean this in the best way possible. This is a not BioShock game. It is not called BioShock, but it's BioShock. I mean, just, it's its own original new story and setting, but the gameplay and everything just screams how those old ones handled. And that alone is enough to convince me that I'm picking it up immediately. One announcement that I did not see coming, and I find curious, is we're also getting a remake of Until Dawn being released on PS5 as well as on PC. I do love that game, and it's actually probably still my favorite Dark Picture title, so nice to see it get a fresh coat of paint. There have also been rumors about that maybe getting some kind of live-action movie adaptation, so I'm curious if this is going to tie into that at all, or if maybe it was just a misheard rumor and, what we are getting is a remake. The last quarter of the show ended up being heavily focused on specifically Kojima, with two different games. One, we got a new look at Death Stranding 2, which looks extremely Kojima in so many different ways that I can't even just encapsulate in this video right now, but honestly, it looks incredible. The first Death Stranding, I did have trouble getting through. In fact, I actually still haven't fully finished it yet, and I need to go do that ASAP now. The action on this new one looks to be turned up a little bit, which I am excited for, including some very interesting cinematic fight scenes between Troy Baker using an electric guitar gun axe thing, fighting giant mechanized samurai. I don't know, it's bizarre, and that's exactly what I love about Kojima, so I'm here for it. And then the other announcement in regards to Kojima is that he is working with Sony on an additional new game coming out that is going to be his return to doing action espionage games. Obviously, it is not going to be Metal Gear Solid, because it's not with Konami, but he is going to be doing a new title with them, and a very large part of their focus when talking about this, which is also a very Kojima thing, talking about wanting to break down the barriers between filmmaking and video games, and making something that does feel very much like an interactive movie. Obviously, this is all just talk right now. We have no trailers or actual specific things to work with, but it does sound very much like this is the kind of thing that Kojima has been wanting to do for a while now. I feel like a lot of people that have followed his career just know that ultimately he's kind of a filmmaker that is in video games in some ways, and he just wants to make movies, so something where it's further blurring that line absolutely sounds like a goal for him. One last thing the State of Play did announce is that we are getting another one very soon on February 6th that is focused completely on just Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm a little mixed on if I'm going to watch that one or not, primarily because I'm already excited about Rebirth. We've already seen a lot of that game, and I'm not sure how much more I need to see before, I just want to actually pick it up and play it, so I'll probably end up checking it out because, I do this stuff, but I really feel almost like the game doesn't need it because it's Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy VII. It's a sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm gonna get the game. I'm already sold on it. So that's just some quick immediate thoughts from the State of Play. Overall, I think it was a very solid one, and we have a more full lineup to look for the upcoming years. A number of the games did also have kind of in development generic title lines, so not a ton of specific dates for some of these, some even going as far out as 2025. Hopefully we do see some more announcements in the near future and really fill the rest of this year out some more, but this was a great start. As always, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button to let me know. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I got some more stuff planned on the way. There's a couple videos I shot in advance of this trip that'll be going up very soon that are probably a little more polished and nice looking than this one, but I just, State of Play, I feel like I needed to make a reaction ASAP, so made it happen. See you guys later.